So, semi-balanced hands. Now, when I very first teach you about the bidding and the golden rules of bidding, especially when you're the opening person, I teach you about unbalanced hands and balanced hands, and I, in a sense, force one hand or another into one of those two categories. Because if I was teaching you year one and I said, you know, this is your opening hand, you are an unbalanced hand is the way I teach you, because two doubletons is not considered balanced. Because you can have one doubleton, but you can't have two doubletons. That's the rule I kind of lay down. So therefore I would say, with this 6-card diamond suit, you should open one diamond with the intention of rebidding two diamonds. That should be your plan, if you like. That's because I have forced this semi-balanced hand into the unbalanced category. Now, the reason I don't teach you balanced, semi-balanced and unbalanced is because it's too complex to teach you that right at the inception. Just like with most things in bridge, I teach you something and then I slightly modify it until suddenly it's unrecognisable from when I very first taught you. Like weak takeouts, when I taught you 1-no trump was 2 hearts is 5 cards in hearts, I changed that to a transfer. 2 clubs is not clubs, it's statement. So I've changed things over the course and kind of morph it into the real system. But I introduce you into things to make it easier for you to take it in initially. So this is where this sort of surprise third category comes from. Now, semi-balanced hands are only hands that have 2 doubletons in them. You could consider a hand with 3 doubletons in it semi-balanced, but that's starting to get really one-suited now. A 7-card suit is not really semi-balanced anymore. So it's specifically 2 doubletons. If you have 1 doubleton or fewer, you are balanced. And if you have more than 2 doubletons, you are unbalanced, or a singleton, you are unbalanced. So it's quite a specific hand. The only shapes that it can actually conform to is 5-4-2-2, 6-4-2-2, 6-3-2-2. 7-2-2-2, again, I would consider that a single suited, not a semi-balanced. Now, essentially, these semi-balanced hands don't really fall very nicely into one category or the other. They're not strictly balanced, nor are they strictly unbalanced. The reason I force them into unbalanced is because they often play better as an unbalanced hand than they do a balanced hand, but there are exceptions to that. So what I'm going to talk about here is making a judgment as to when to treat a semi-balanced hand as balanced, rather than treating it as unbalanced. So if you like, tweaking these fine shapes, 6-3-2-2 and 5-4-2-2. Now the best time to treat a semi-balanced hand as a balanced hand is when you have a minor suit. The reason for that is when you have a minor suit, you're not particularly worried about suppressing a 6-card minor, because you don't often want the 6-card minor as the trump suit. For example, if you take the hand on the board, this hand is too good to open 1-no trump, and arguably not balanced to open 1-no trump. So you would open 1 diamond. That seems normal so far. I'm making an assumption that we have the chance to open the bidding. It might be that they open 3 spades in front of you, and then you've got obviously a different decision. I'm making the assumption that we can bid as we wish. Our partner comes back with something, let's say 1 spade. That's not entirely unlikely. And now our normal, in inverted commas, rebid would be 2 diamonds. 6 plus diamonds, not a good hand, just a basic opening hand. It's not bad, but it's not fantastic. Now, you could consider rebidding 1-no trump, because that shows 15, 17 points in a balanced hand. The slight problem with that is that it's not really balanced, but I would argue it's not really unbalanced. So 2 diamonds has flaws, and 1-no trump has flaws. That's because this semi-balanced hand doesn't really fit nicely into either category. Now, because we have a minor suit, let's say our partner's hand is weak. We really want to be playing 1-no trump rather than 2 diamonds. If you remember from match point week, which was a week or so ago, match pointing is all about who gets the best score. And a minor suit often scores not as well as no trumps, because no trumps gets more points and is often, you don't need to make as many tricks. For example, 1-no trump gets 90, 1 diamond gets 70, 2 no trumps gets 120, 2 diamonds gets 90. It's always behind, and it gets more and more behind as you get higher and higher, because no trump, you get more and more points per trick. So whenever you can, you want to look to playing no trumps if you have a minor suited hand. Now, I'm not talking about an 8-card minor hand with voids and stuff, because obviously that is a trump hand. But when it's a very fine margin like this, 6-3-2-2 and 5-4-2-2, you might want to rebid 1-no trump because your hand is minoring. If this was a 6-card major, I think you want to rebid the major because you want to show your major suit. But with a 6-card minor, often it's correct to, if you like, suppress the 6th card and pretend that it's a balanced hand. So the benefits of rebidding one no trump with this hand are as follows. You describe your strength. Your true strength is 15 to 17. One diamond, two diamond could be anywhere down to about 11 if you've opened on the rule of 20, perhaps even 10 on the rule of 20. So one no trump is more descriptive for your strength. And secondly, you, yes, might have missed a 6-2 or 6-3 diamond fit, but you are now going to likely be playing in no trumps as opposed to playing in diamonds if your partner's weak. So what that means is you're likely to have improved your match point score because there is unlikely 2 more tricks in diamonds than there are in no trumps. That's what it needs to be for diamonds to be as good. Well, slightly better. So if you play in one no trump, it's likely your partner had, let's say, a doubleton diamond, and 2 diamonds would have made 8 tricks, and one no trump makes 7 or 8 tricks, and you actually get a better score for playing in no trumps because your suit is a minor. Now, if your partner is not weak, they will bid again. The thing that's good about that is because you've described your strength, your partner may well be confident about whether you have enough points per game, and the fact that you've got doubletons, at least in their suits, means that they might know of a major fit. They might have 6 cards in spades, and because you are balanced, they know that you have a 6 card and a 2 card, and therefore a fit, 8 cards in that suit. So one no trump to me feels like a better bid, because I'm not particularly keen on the diamonds, and one no trump is, if you like, more descriptive. Again, it's not perfect, because if it were perfect, we would move a diamond to a club or a diamond to a spade, and then that would be a perfect 1 diamond, then 1 no trump. So if you like, you're sort of forcing a square peg into a round hole, but it's better than pushing it the other way, but only because our 6-card suit is a minor. If you had a 6-card major, as I said, you would open 1 and rebid 2 or rebid 3 to show your 6-card suit and your strength. So I wouldn't ever really treat a 6-3-2-2 major hand as semi-balanced. It's only when it's a minor, because then no trumps often is better. Now if we had, let's say, fewer points, let's knock the, what can I do with the stuff with his only hand? King of clubs away. We've now got 12 points. We now have an interesting decision, but at our first juncture, rather than our second. Now we have the same shape, but less values. So instead of going 1 diamond then 1 no trump, which would lie about our points, we have to either open 1 no trump, 12 to 14, treating the semi-balanced hand as balanced, or open 1 diamond and then rebid 2 diamonds. If we open 1 diamond, we have signed ourselves up for a 2 diamond rebid. There is no getting out of it. Because if you open 1 diamond and they come back whatever, you can't now rebid no trumps. Because if you rebid no trumps, that would show the stronger hand, 15, 17 or 18, 19. So in this world, you've got to make a decision. Should I open 1 no trump, or should I open 1 of my suit, intending to rebid 2 of my suit? Now, there are obviously ups and downs to both, and to be honest, a little bit of it is guesswork, because it could be right to open 1 no trump, or it could be right to open 1 diamond, depends on what your partner's hand is. So my suggestion is that when you are about to treat a semi-balanced hand as balanced, you want to look at the doubletons you have. If your doubletons are good, if you have points in your doubletons, it means it makes up for the fact that your hand isn't truly balanced. If you don't have points in your doubletons, i.e. your points are in your longer suits, it lends itself to playing in a suit more frequently. Again, this is guidance. You could create a hand where you should open 1 no trump with 2 small doubletons, but it doesn't happen very often. So in this hand, I will be a bit worried about opening 1 no trump because of the club doubleton. I mean, the spade doubleton's not exactly great, but at least we've got a stopper there. But I will be worried about treating this in a balanced nature, because I'm worried that 1 no trump gets passed out and there's club tricks against me. If I move the ace of diamonds down to the ace of clubs and make our 6-card diamond suit much less attractive, I'm now much more keen to open this 1 no trump. It isn't truly balanced, I agree with you, but neither is it truly unbalanced, if we're counting semi-balanced as a category in its own. Here, if you open 1 diamond, you are going to have to rebid 2 diamonds. So that's not particularly attractive, because your diamond suit isn't good. Yes, your partner might be able to bid 3 no trumps or whatever, but if it does go 1 diamond, 1 something, 2 diamonds pass, that is likely to be not as good as 1 no trump. Likely, because your diamonds are so poor. So because we have points in our doubletons, I am more comfortable with treating this as balanced. If you like, the difference between that hand and that hand is very slim. Almost negligible. It's not entirely negligible, but it's almost negligible. And again, because our 6-card suit is a minor, and more kind of incentivized to try and get no trumps involved. Okay? Now, it's not the only time, a 6-card minor is not the only time you might treat a hand as semi-balanced. You could be 5-4-2-2. That's another semi-balanced shape. They're the only real semi-balanced shapes, 6-3-2-2 and 5-4-2-2. It depends on how awkward you think it's going to be to bid your hand as to whether you treat 5-4-2-2s as semi-balanced, or as balanced, or whether you treat them as unbalanced. So if you like, in a normal, in inverted commas, world, you open one diamond, they do one of a major, because they always bid that, almost always. Then you rebid 2 clubs, that shows 5-4. There's nothing wrong with that. Showing 5-4 is perfectly sound, because it is exactly what you've got. But you could, instead, open 1 no trump, and treat that as semi-balanced. With 5-4-2-2, you need to think about how efficient your bidding is going to be. So how efficient is 1 diamond, then 2 clubs going to be? Fairly efficient. You're not taking up very much room. Your partner can go back to your suit at the 2 level if they wish. They can go back to 2 diamonds, in this example. You don't really cost anything by going 1 diamond, 2 clubs. On the other side, 1 no trump, you do have points in your doubletons, and you have got a minory hand. If you like here, I'm a bit on the fence. It's a judgment, which is why it's quite difficult. It's not a strict rule. When you very first get into the bidding, there's rules. This is wrong, this is right. Here we're getting to these sort of edges where it gets grey, and you're making a decision about how to treat this hand. I don't mind 1 no trump, and I don't mind 1 diamond, 2 clubs. I think match pointing is probably slightly better to open 1 no trump, but it's close. If we think that our bidding is going to be awkward, and this could even change in the middle of the bidding when our partner does something that makes our life awkward, which happens more often than you'd like to think. If I just turn the minor suits round, now going 1 club then 2 diamonds is much less efficient, because when our partner wants to return to our primary suit, they have to go back to the 3 level. 1 club, 1 heart, let's say, 2 diamonds. Now, for our partner to return to clubs, they have to go to 3 clubs. Can you see how that's a lot worse than the way it was before? That's because our longer suit is weaker ranking. It's not as high a ranking as the diamonds. So in this instance, opening 1 club, we know that our likely rebid is going to be 2 diamonds, which forces us back to 3 clubs. Do you see the difference? So when you've got, if you remember from reverses week, that was a month ago or so, when you've got reverse suits, often treating a semi-balanced hand as balanced benefits you. So here, I would personally, I would open 1 no trump with this hand, because I know I've got an awkward time coming. 1 club, 1 major, bleh. I don't want to bid 2 diamonds really, nor do I want to bid 2 clubs. I don't really want to do anything. I wish I'd opened 1 no trump, is how I'm feeling. The good thing about opening 1 no trump more frequently is that it's quite preemptive, it gets in your opponent's way, and you've got a lot of systems. You're quite sophisticated after you open 1 no trump. You've got transfers and statement. It's quite a sophisticated thing. Whereas after one of a suit, 1 club, you've not got that sophistication, so you've not got quite as much precision in your bidding, early doors anyway. So because of these suits being reversed, I personally would open 1 no trump. And if I give us some more points, so we're in the next bracket up, let's say King, Queen. Now we're too many points to open 1 no trump. I would open 1 club and rebid 1 no trump. Assuming I've got the right number of points, 16, yeah. And if I give us even more points, I would open 1 club and rebid 2 no trumps. You could open 1 club and rebid 2 diamonds or 3 diamonds or whatever your system says. But again, I'm feeling like I should be treating it as balanced, even though it's not strictly balanced nor unbalanced. You with me? Yeah. So with 5-4-2-2s and with 6-3-2-2s, consider treating them as balanced. But beware, you need to have length in the minors. If you have length in the majors, you should be bidding your majors. The second thing is you need to have points in your doubleton suits. You don't want a doubleton suit that's wide open. Because if you have that doubleton suit that's wide open, like the clubs a short while ago, they will likely lead that suit, not always, but likely lead that suit against your eventual no trump contract, and now the benefits might actually not be there in no trumps because they can run a suit through you. I have sort of given us the minimum I would expect for us to hold in the doubletons, something where you feel like it's likely to be a stopper, ace doubleton, king doubleton, sort of the bottom of the barrel stuff. The more points you've got in the doubletons, the more likely it is correct to treat it as semi-balanced. Ace queen doubleton and ace king doubleton, and no points in your minors, is quite a likely thing to bid 1 no trump. Is quite likely to be the right thing to do. This theory goes right the way up to the 2 no trumps and 2 clubs worlds, which again doesn't happen very often. How many have I got now? Just keep adding it until I can't add up anymore. 11, 17, 22? Is that? Something like that anyway. Loads of points. So if we're in the 2022 bracket, again, I would find this hand difficult to deal with because of its semi-balanced nature. It doesn't really fit into either category very nicely. So we could open 2 clubs and then bid 3 clubs and then bid diamonds to try and show 5-4 in our club diamond hand. That takes an awful lot of bidding. Or we could just open 2 no trumps and treat it as balanced, 2022 balanced. You can see, I appreciate I've sold it to you, but you can see how the 2 no trump version is a lot more straightforward. Yes, you are strictly bending your hand to try and push it in, but it's better than opening 1 club or 2 clubs, depending on whether you treat it as game forcing or not game forcing. The higher you get up, the more likely it is correct to treat them as semi-balanced because you get your points across very efficiently. If I give us an extra point, we're then in really happy land. So now I would open 2 clubs and then rebid 2 no trumps, again treating my hand as balanced because it is basically balanced. Okay? Again, you must have points in your doubletons to sort of make up for the fact that you haven't got the true balanced hand. Now if I was to move, let's say I move the King of Hearts down and a diamond up instead. So we've got, that is our hand. You can see how that hand, all I've done, I've moved a heart up and moved the king down. So now you can see how this hand is truly balanced. There's no, I'm not pulling any kind of wool over your eyes here. This is a true balanced hand. So 2 clubs, then 2 no trumps is absolutely correct. No one can argue with that. But you can see how this hand is very, very similar to the hand before. I suppose I need an extra queen, don't I? Anyway, treating this hand as balanced is very, very similar to the hand we just had. Because, yes, you've now got 5-3-2-2, but 5-4-2-2 is a very, very similar shape. It's not identical, but it's very similar. Now, if we had 5-4 in the majors, 5-4 and one of them is a major, you need to be thinking about how awkward or how likely it is going to make your life awkward as to whether to treat them as balanced or unbalanced. So if you take 5-4 in the black suits with 5-card suit being clubs, the thing about the 5-card suit being clubs is it nearly always works out that you can bid your suit at a very cheap level. Because whenever you open 1 club, your partner responds 1 of a suit almost always, not always, but almost always, and then you can rebid your second suit quite cheaply. So in this instance, 1 club, 1 anything, you can rebid 1 spade. Yes, apart from 1 no trump, I suppose. But if they bid 1 no trump after 1 club, it means they haven't got a biddable suit at the 1 level. So they haven't got 4 diamonds, 4 hearts, or 4 spades. I.e., they've got 4 clubs, because they have to have. So 1 club, 1 diamond, let's say, you can quite cheaply rebid 1 spade, and you're all still at the 1 level. So you essentially need to have the foresight to see how awkward is my life going to be if I open this 5 and rebid the 4. When we were 5 clubs, 4 diamonds, it was going to be awkward. 1 club, 1 heart, 2 diamonds, bleh. 1 club, 1 heart, 1 spade, not bleh. You see how that's much more efficient? The fact that you haven't bypassed 2 of your original suit is the key there, because it means if your partner really doesn't like what's going on, they can return to 1 no trump or 2 clubs. They can get out very cheaply. So it's unusual to treat 5-4 in the black suits as balanced, simply because you're actually quite an efficient shape. 5-4 in the red suits, obviously I could go through every single shape, but 5-4 in the red suits is slightly more likely to be awkward. So essentially, if I just squint my eyes and turn those black suits to red, like so, this is more likely to be awkward because by opening 1 diamond, if your partner responds 1 spade, you've got an awkward rebid. The problem with treating this as balanced is that our points are in the wrong places. We've got queen doubleton, small doubleton, so our doubletons are not good enough. So therefore I would open this 1 diamond with the intention of rebidding hearts, but I'm not keen. I'm not keen on it because I've not been dealt the right hand, essentially. You could, I suppose, demand a redeal or not open at all, I suppose. But opening 1 no trump here, whilst your suits are quite awkward, it feels wrong because of the doubleton rule. If I move some values about a bit and kind of, if you like, bodge it so that if it fits, let's say Jack 10, XX, King, Jack. Ding. Now I'm more okay with opening it one no trump because our doubletons sort of meet the rule, and opening one diamond is likely to cause problems. The only time opening one diamond will work well is if your partner has hearts. You might argue, well, surely if they've got diamonds, but even if they've got diamonds, it might be better to play in one no trump. If they've got hearts, it almost certainly won't be better to play in one no trump. Again, the sort of thought process behind all of these decisions is all about the scoring. How do I get the most points from this hand? If we've got a minor fit, I don't want to play in it, almost always. If we've got a major fit, I almost always do want to play in it. It's all the whole bidding and judgment is all based around those kind of parameters. Now in this instance, if you did open this hand one no trump, your partner, if they have enough values or enough shape, could try stamen and you find your heart fit that way. Of course, there might be a heart fit lost if they've got 0 points and 4 small hearts or something. So there are 6 points, let's say, so they would have responded. So when you get these semi-balanced hands, you need to be thinking ahead. With a strictly unbalanced hand, you don't really need to think ahead. I mean, you should, but you don't need to because you're sort of pigeonholed into, I've got to do it this way. With a balanced hand, same thing, you've got to do it this way. With a semi-balanced hand, there's actually quite a lot of judgment involved into where to go. Should I be doing suit then this suit, or should I be doing suit then no trumps, or should I be opening no trumps? You need to be thinking about what's going to happen. You won't always get them right, because you could think, well, as long as I have one diamond, as long as they don't bid one spade, I've got to say free bid. And then sure enough, that's what they'll come up with. So you won't always be landing in the right contract necessarily, but you just got to think about the likelihood of how it might happen, essentially. Okay? If your major is 5, I really think you should be opening a major, because a 5-card major is a really important asset to be getting across. Again, if you're unbalanced, well, semi-balanced. So here, I think 1 heart, 2 diamonds is a fairly efficient way of bidding, so I'm not worried about opening 1 heart, 2 diamonds. You could open one no trump, but this would be an unusual thing to do with a 5-card major. Okay? The more minor your hand, the more likely it is to force it into no trumps, essentially. Alright? Happy? Yes?
You said something that was interesting then, that you might not open. Is there a chance where you might not open if you've got
I said you have the option to, but I personally wouldn't. I just open opening hands. There are some sort of theories of these hands are so awkward it might not be correct to open. Well, it might work out better to not open. Especially 4-4-4-1 hands, they fall into that category a lot. A lot of people suggest that you might not open a 4-4-4-1 to try and get back into the bidding later. I personally am of the opinion an opening hand's an opening hand, so open it. I don't think, I mean, you could try and get clever, but you tend to tie yourself in knots doing things like that, because then your partner never believes you've got an opening hand and it gets difficult to express. Can get difficult to express. You always have the option to. If you think, by opening this hand I'm going to get in more trouble, you can pass. That is always an option, but I would suggest if it's an opening hand, that's unlikely to be the correct thing to do, to not open. But you have the option if you wish, if you want to roll the dice. Alright?